the tops of the drop, gentlemen. No heifers have been retained. No heifers have been retained. They are by the Toora West bulls. They've been weaned up for 5 weeks. 19 of them in the yard. Beautiful cattle to handle. Weighing up at 360 kilo. Right, the heifers, if you want to put them back to the bull, there they are right in front of you. You put me right, can I ask they're 230 or 40? I'll bet 220, thank you. I'll bet 5. I'll bet 225, bet 6. 6, 7, 7, 8, 9. I'll bet 229, Tony. 30, 21, 2. 32.
Hamilton agents into their second week of their weaner sales conducted the first British breeds heifer sale. Ashley Crows joins me on behalf of the independent agents. Ashley, 3,200 here today with some very good inquiry for genetics in the blacks. After that, mainly all local competition and butchers putting out cattle for a little bit later on.
Yeah, for sure. A lot of their cattle, especially the blacks, showed a fair bit of loin, and a lot of the calves were sort of 300 kilos plus. They sold very well, sort of 220 to 240. Herefords seem to have done a little bit harder through our spring, which was the worst that I've known, and I've been in this district probably 35 years. Did a little bit harder, and they sort of went between 190 to 210, so it was probably a 10 or 15 cent variance between the breeds this year, mainly because of weight, whereas the Angus had a little more weight than the Herefords, and EU wasn't a big issue with here today. A lot of the EU cattle went out of the system.
Yeah, a couple of things noticeable here today. The main prime movers have been the feedlots at the top end getting specialty cattle. They didn't operate to any great significance here today.
No, it wasn't actually. It was interesting today. Like I had an order to go to Gippsland, and the job was ticking along, and then there was a bit of a lull through the middle, and all of a sudden you had heifers making $1.90, and all of a sudden everyone had orders for calves between $1.90 and $2. So I think with the north having rain, it hasn't grown grass yet. So I think you're going to find, with another 3 weeks of selling probably left with weaner calves throughout the state, that the job might just keep getting a little bit dearer as we go through, especially with the rains we've had.
Yeah, the other significant thing that was missing here today was that, upper north New South Wales inquiry for people that might have been wanting to hedge off on the with heifers off steers.
Yes, for sure. Like I think because of what we probably had yesterday with our Charolais and Euro sale, heifers were making sort of 220 to 240, and maybe those guys heard that and never came down in the numbers that we had thought. But they might be waiting too after a tough break and a tough drought. They might be just holding their cards close to their bodies at the moment just to see where they're at.
Yeah. One of the good things, I suppose, that's come out of today's market is that the fact that a lot of cattle have been lost over the previous 5 days of selling to the north. A lot of the heifers today here were retained locally, and you've got some powder to use later in the year to sell, because otherwise cattle might get short.
Definitely. Like there's going to be definitely a shortage of cattle at some stage this year. As long as we've got the right ingredients, as long as plentifully everything goes well there, definitely there's going to be a stage where there's going to be a big shortage of cattle if we have rain. And a lot of cattle we did tip out today, we're going to have to feed them hay for a while and keep them going, knowing that hopefully that we'll have a return later this year.
Yeah.